Hello students, how are you? I am your English teacher Narayanchandra Rauth. Welcome to our digital or online class. On last Friday, in this class, we started to read or explain our rapid reader lesson Othello. In that class, we started the lesson. At first, we discussed about the story outline. Then we started from reading the first 3 paragraphs. Now from the 4th paragraph we are reading and discussing the lesson in short. আমরা গত শুক্রবারে এই ক্লাসটা করেছিলাম। প্রথমে স্টোরি আউটলাইন বলেছিলাম, ফার্স্ট সেকেন্ড থার্ড প্যারাগ্রাফ আমরা আলোচনা করেছিলাম। সেই পড়ার লেসনটা আমরা ইউটিউবে আপলোড করেছি, তার লিঙ্ক দিয়েছি আমি। নিশ্চয়ই যারা দেখেছো খুব ভালো, যারা দেখোনি তারা ওই পড়াটা ওখান থেকে করে নিও। আজকে আমি ফোর্থ প্যারাগ্রাফ থেকে পড়ছি, পেজ নাম্বার 33। Meanwhile, the state of Venice was in urgent need of Othello. The Senate received the news that the Turks had set sail a fleet with mighty preparation for hostility and they were moving. আচ্ছা ঠিক আছে, আমি যারা ক্লাস করনি তাদের সুবিধার জন্য একটু গল্পটা শুরুটা যেটুকু হয়েছে সেটা বলে দিচ্ছি। যে ইটালির ভেনিস শহরে ব্রাবানসিও নামে এক সেনেটর ছিল, তার এক কন্যা ছিল, তার নাম হচ্ছে দেসদিমোনা সঙ্গে ভেনিস শহরের এক যোদ্ধা নিগ্রো যার নাম ওথেলো, তার বিবাহ হয় গোপনে। এবং তবে গোপন বিবাহের কথা যখন জানাজানি হয়ে যায় তখন সেনেটর ব্রাবানসিও ডিউকের কাছে, অর্থাৎ ভেনিসের যে প্রধান, তার কাছে অভিযোগ করে এবং সেই অভিযোগের ভিত্তিতে কি হলো সেটা আমরা এখন থেকে জানবো, এই প্যারাগ্রাফ থেকে জানবো। দেখো, Meanwhile, the state of Venice was in urgent need of Othello. The Senate received a news that the Turks had set sail a fleet with mighty preparation for hostility and they were moving towards the island of Cyprus with the intent to regain it from the Venetians. In the state of emergency, Othello was deemed as the most competent general to defend Cyprus against the invasion of Turks. Hence, Othello was summoned before the Senate. He was therefore called to the Senate both as a candidate for a noble employment and esteemed as well as a culprit charged with offences by Senator Brabantio. This is the whole paragraph I have just read. Meanwhile, the state of Venice was in urgent need of Othello. Othello was a great soldier. He was in need for the emergency of the state. What was the emergency? The Senate received a news that the Turks had set sail a fleet with mighty preparation for hostility and they were moving towards Venice. A news came to the Senate that the Turks, the enemy side of Venice, they are attacking Cyprus. Cyprus was an island that belonged once to the Turks, and it was occupied by the Venice. So the Turks attacked Venice to regain their Venice or the island of Cyprus to regain it. In this state, অর্থাৎ সাইপ্রাস দ্বীপ তুর্কিদের বা তুর্কদের অধীন ছিল, সেটা ভেনিস দখল করে নিয়েছিল, সেইটাকে পুনরুদ্ধার করার জন্য আবার হচ্ছে ওরা কি করেছে না সাইপ্রাস দ্বীপকে আক্রমণ করেছে। In the state of emergency, Othello was deemed as the most competent general to defend Cyprus against the invasion of the Turks. This was no doubt an emergency, and Othello was considered to be the most competent person, most suitable person to save the country, was to defend the island of Cyprus against the Turks. Hence, Othello was summoned before the Senate. He was therefore called to the Senate both as a candidate for a noble employment and esteemed as well as a culprit charged with offences by Senator Brabantio. In order to use or to employ Othello for protecting the island of Cyprus against the attack of the Turks, he was called to the Senate. There is another reason for calling him to the Senate. What was the reason? The reason was Senator Brabantio has complained to the Duke earlier that he has married his daughter, Othello has married his daughter against his consent, and these were the two causes for which Othello was called to the Senate. One was to have to fight against the Turks. Second, there was a complaint against him by the Senator Brabantio. দুটো কারণে তাকে ডাকা হয়েছিল। প্রথম ছিল যে তুর্কিরা আক্রমণ করছে সাইপ্রাস দ্বীপকে, তাকে রক্ষা করতে হবে, তাদের তুর্কদের প্রতিরোধ করতে হবে। আর সেকেন্ড ছিল যে বৃদ্ধ ব্রাবান্সিও অভিযোগ করেছে তার মেয়েকে বিয়ে করার ব্যাপারে তার কনসেন্ট ছাড়া, অনুমতি ছাড়া। He was therefore called to the Senate both as a candidate for a noble employment and esteemed as well as a culprit charged with offences by Senator Brabantio. He has been called here a culprit, Shaitan, dosi. The old senator was heard with utmost patience in the assembly of the senator, and the infuriated father accused Othello in outrageous manner. Hence, when Othello was called upon for his defense, he had only to narrate a simple story of his love, which he did so in such artless eloquence that even the Duke had to confess that a tale so told would have won his daughter too. And the spells and the conjurations which Othello had used in his courtship plainly appeared to have been no more than the honest arts of wing, and the only witchcraft which he had used is the skill of telling a soft tale to win a lady's heart. In this paragraph, we come to know what was in the trial scene of Othello. The old senator was heard with utmost patience in the assembly of the senators, and the infuriated father accused Othello in outrageous manner. Othello was called to the Senate house. There, Brabantio's accusations were patiently heard by the Duke, and old Senator Brabantio accused Othello very angrily. Hence, Othello was called upon for his defense. Naturally, Othello was also called to defend himself against the charge of Brabantio. Then what did he do? What did Othello do? Now he only had to narrate a simple story of love. Othello narrated the story of love. And he told the story of love in such a beautiful or charming manner that even the Duke, his art of speaking was very charming, and that charming manner of telling the story of love charmed the Duke. And he also confessed that if a story is told in such an eloquent manner, in a good manner, then even my daughter would also have been charmed at the storyteller. অর্থাৎ যখন ওথেলোকে সেলফ ডিফেন্স করার জন্য জিজ্ঞেস করা হলো যে আপনি বলুন আত্মপক্ষ সমর্থন করার জন্য, তখন ওথেলো এমনভাবে তার ভালোবাসার গল্পটা ডিউককে শোনালো, ডিউক হচ্ছে খুব মুগ্ধ হয়ে বলল, আরে আমি কি, আমার মেয়েও এরকম গল্প বললে সে সন্তুষ্ট হয়ে যাবে। অ্যান্ড দ্য স্পেলস and conjurations which Othello had used in his courtship plainly appeared to have been no more than the honest art of wooing, and the only witchcraft which he had used is the skill of telling a soft tale to win a lady's heart. The spells and conjurations, যে জাদু মন্ত্র বা গুপ্ত পদ্ধতি যেটা ওথেলো তার প্রণয়কালে ব্যবহার করেছিল বলে বলা হচ্ছে, সেটা আর কিছুই নয়, সেটা হচ্ছে একজন মহিলার হৃদয়কে জয় করার জন্য যে প্রেমের কৌশল, সেটা ছাড়া আর কিছু নয়। সেটাই ছিল সেই উইচক্রাফট, এবং যেটা একটা গল্প বলার মধুর কৌশল মাত্র। That means Othello did not use any witchcraft or any special charm. He only applied the art of storytelling in a soft manner that could win the heart of a lady. The statement of Othello was confirmed by Desdemona, who appeared in court and acknowledged that he was bound by duty to Brabantio for her life and education, but now she had a higher duty to perform for her lover and husband Othello, quite like her mother had done years ago in preferring Brabantio above her father. Unable to maintain his plea, Brabantio accepted the Moor as his son-in-law and told him that with all his heart he would keep her away from him. He was also glad that he had no other children, for this behavior of Desdemona would have made him a tyrant and hang clogs on them for desertion. He even warned Othello and Desdemona, who had deceived her father and might also deceive him. So what happened in this stage of the story? Unable to maintain his plea, Brabantio accepted the Moor as his son-in-law and told him that with all his heart he would keep her away from him. Brabantio, the old senator's accusation did not give him the desired result, because his main accusation was that he applied some sort of witchcraft or charms to win his daughter's heart. But actually, the Duke found that nothing objectionable has been used to win the heart of Desdemona. So, Brabantio was compelled to accept Othello, the Moor, as his son-in-law, and he also, Brabantio, uttered that he could not accept his daughter's behavior. So he would give up her claim to be his daughter. তেজ্য কন্যা করে দিল আর কি। And then, before that, Desdemona declared that he would not stay with his father. He would go with his husband Othello. Just as if Desdemona's mother followed his father years ago. Desdemona কেমন বুদ্ধি করে কথা বলেছে, আমার মা যেমন আমার বাবার সঙ্গে অর্থাৎ তার স্বামীর সঙ্গে চলে এসেছিল, আমিও তেমনি আমার স্বামীর সঙ্গে যাব, বাবার বাড়ি আর যাব না, বাবার কাছে যাব না। He was also glad that he had no other children. He means Brabantio. He was also glad that he had no other children, for this behavior of Desdemona would have made him a tyrant and hang clogs on them for desertion. What is the meaning of this sentence? Brabantio remarked that he was lucky that he had no other children or daughter. If why he was lucky or glad? That people they also followed their elder sister's behavior, and that was a grace to them. অর্থাৎ আমার আর ছেলে মেয়ে নেই, তারা যদি এইরকম করতো তাহলে আমার কাছে অপমান হতো এবং প্রবলেম হতো আর কি, তারা অত্যাচারী হয়ে যেত। এরকম দেশদিমত আচরণ কি করতো না, অত্যাচারী করে তুলতো। He even warned Othello about Desdemona, who had deceived her father and might also deceive him. সে ওথেলোকে সাবধান করে দিল। Brabantio warned Othello that my daughter, who has deceived his father, may also deceive him. জামাইকে সতর্ক করে দিল, আমার মেয়ে কিন্তু আমাকে প্রতারণা করতে পারে। This remark, such statement was not desirable from a father-in-law. However, this happened. হবু জামাইকে বলে যে আমার মেয়ে কিন্তু তোমাকে প্রতারিত করতে পারে, সাবধান কিন্তু। After the trial, Othello really went to the war in Cyprus along with Desdemona, as she refused to stay with her father anymore. She boldly declared, I loved the Moor to live with him. So the newly married couple set sail for Cyprus. But as soon they landed in Cyprus, the news arrived that a violent tempest had dispersed the Turkish fleet, and the island was thus secure. But the war which Othello was to suffer was now beginning, and the enemies which malice stirred up against Desdemona proved in their nature more deadly than strangers or infidels. After the trial, অর্থাৎ বিচার সভা হয়ে গেল, Othello readily went to the war in Cyprus along with Desdemona, as he refused to stay with her father anymore. After the trial was over, Desdemona and Othello went to island of Cyprus to face the soldiers to fight with the. Of course, Othello went to fight against the Turks. She boldly declared, "I loved the mood to live with him." Desdemona boldly declared that he wanted to live with her husband. So the newly married couple set sail for Cyprus. So they boarded the ship to reach Cyprus. But as soon as they landed in Cyprus, the news arrived that a violent tempest had dispersed the Turkish fleet. Immediately after reaching Cyprus, the news came that the enemy soldiers or the fleet of the enemy soldiers had been dispersed and the island was thus secure. There was no question of war because the enemy soldiers had been retreated. তারা পিছু হটেছে আর কি। But the war which Othello was to suffer was now beginning, and the enemies which malice stirred up against Desdemona proved in his nature more deadly than strangers or infidels. The real war did not take place, but Othello and Desdemona had to face a mental war. And this was created by the malice which was against Othello and Desdemona, and in that mental struggle there was another person. His name was Cassio. This is today's class. This is the end of today's class, and next day we shall continue after this. Okay, page number 34 up to infidels.